Hi everyone. Lately we've been learning a lot about two-point perspective, or making things look like they're appearing to go into the distance, particularly when using three-dimensional objects. So today we're going to have a go at creating a simple little city scene or a little town scene using some buildings and a road, using two-point perspective to give the illusion that a town is going into the distance. So I'm going to do just a simple one, but you can take these ideas and use them yourself to come up with your own buildings or streets or whatever you want in it to give the idea of something going into the distance using two-point perspective. So let's get started. Okay, to draw a simple street scene. Okay, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just plan out my two-point perspective here. I'm just going to start with, I guess, a horizon line by ruling a very light line across the middle. Very lightly, because I'm going to rub this line out. This is just part of my plan. Okay, I'm going to create like a corner here. So I'm going to put a vertical line now, running down the middle of my page. Again, very lightly, because I'm going to rub this out. Okay, and I'm now going to put in my 2 points of perspective. Okay, these are important points because all my lines are going to come back to these points down here. Okay, into the distance. Okay, now from these points, I'm now going to create the top of my building, I guess, a point up here. Now there's going to be lots of different points here, but I'll start with my closest building somewhere. Actually, I'll go a bit higher. Let's go a bit smaller, actually. We'll go about here. Now, I'm going to join these points up very lightly. Okay, I've now created a kind of a diamond shape. Okay, and this is going to be the start of how my street's going to start. So all I need to do now is work out, this is going to be the corner. And I now need to just decide how big my buildings are going to be. So I might make my first building something like this. Okay, this is going to be the walls of my first building. I'm just creating like a little box, keeping sure that my lines are all going horizontal. Okay, let's fill this in. Okay, now this building might also have a little door in it. Now, for my door, I just need to make sure that everything is vertical. And for the top of my door, I'm just going to come from my point of perspective here to create a door. So this is going to be quite a tall building. Okay, I'm going to put in some windows and things like that first also, but I'm just going to work out the rest of my buildings. And they might all be different heights and different sizes. So let's put in a building that's a bit smaller. This time the roof's going to come lower. So I'm going to create now a new line, like this. I'll make my wall come down here. But of course it's going to come along the street, so this line will stay the same. Okay, let's put in the roof of this building. Okay, I'll add all the doors and things in later. Now what about a building that is a little bit taller? In fact, it might even have a little gap in the middle of it, like a little alleyway. So I'm going to create, I can make this as tall as I want, but it must come to this line here, because this is my street line. Okay, let's make this one a bit wider. Okay, now to get the roof of this right, I need to now just put my line of perspective here. Now this looks strange because it's quite a sharp angle, but we're going back into the distance. Now for this side of the roof, okay, don't be tempted to put this straight. It's actually coming back to my point over here. So let's put this in. Okay, here we go. I've got a new building behind this building here. Now it's going to have a little bit that comes in here. To get that exactly right, bring it back to your point over here. Okay, and rule it in. And we now have a little section, like a part that you could walk into. All right, let's create some more buildings next to it. Okay, you can see I'm starting to get the buildings in place. I'm going to put some on this side now. I'll make this a taller one. All my vertical lines are vertical, all of these lines all come back to my points of perspective. Okay, this roof is going to come back to this point all the way over here, but stop there because it's behind. Okay, let's put a smaller building in. Let's make this one have a little alleyway too. This bottom part here will join back to this line here, this point. Okay, let's add a couple more. Okay, now this might look tricky, but all I'm doing here is following a rule. And the rule is that anything that is a vertical wall that goes up and down, goes up and down. Anything that is a side horizontal wall, all come back to my points of perspective. All come back to here. And now that I've followed that rule, I can just start adding some things in. I'm gonna actually put my horizon line back in. Kind of looks like buildings out in the middle of nowhere at the moment. I might even add in a little bit of a sidewalk, a street. Add in a bit of road, or a pathway. Okay, we could even have some buildings in the background. Again, back to this point here. Well, I'll make the side of it first. Bring the perspective line back. Maybe one more over there. Okay, if you turn your page that way, you could probably have some fun making some really tall buildings. Let's put one more down in the distance here. Okay, and once you've got all your buildings, you can now just have some fun adding in all your windows and features. I'm going to add some windows in now. Okay, there's my street scene. You're starting to get the idea. You can do anything with this. You can start adding, hills in the background. You can add all sorts of features. You can add antennas. You could add more windows, doors. You could have people on the street. You could have trees. You can have all sorts of things here. You can get as creative with this as you want. But the point is, when you're doing two-point perspective drawing, always keep your vertical lines vertical, and all of your lines that run horizontal always come back to your 2 points of your perspective drawing. There's nothing tricky or fancy about this. All I'm doing is following the rules that everything comes back to my 2 points. Okay, you follow that rule and your perspective will always look pretty much correct, and then you can be as creative as you want, coming up with all your different buildings and features and all sorts. Give it a go, have some fun, and see what you can come up with yourself.